Welcome to Data-Driven Sports Betting. I'm A-Train Bets, and I use my brain to make bets. And in this video, we're going to talk about an advanced strategy of how to counteract some of the book limits that you have at specific sportsbooks. So as you become a sharper sports bettor, you will inevitably find that some of your online books will limit your action to very small amounts that are so small you won't even want to play there anymore. And it's inevitable that's going to happen. And that's just kind of part of that process. And it becomes harder to find the outs at the levels and the dollar amounts that you want to play. But if you're creative, and one of the strategies that you can use if you're creative is to do parlays. So some of the books that would limit a straight bet and only let you get $20 down might let you get $20 down on a parlay. Well, if you can put a $20 parlay with 3 bets in it, even though you might pay a little bit of the vig on that parlay, if you could find good plays, all of a sudden you can get more bet volume because the payout on a 3-team parlay is going to be substantially more than playing 3 individual bets at $20 a piece. So you can still find ways to use the sports books that limit you on direct individual single plays. You can find ways to get creative and still get action there. But one of my favorite ways to do that is by going to bet in person. So some of these sports books that tend to limit action online very heavily have physical locations that you can go and bet in person at. The beauty of betting in person is that you can do that anonymously. There's no rule that says you have to use a card under most circumstances. So when I go to Rivers Casino, I can go and bet 10, 50 times more than I can bet online. That's a very powerful strategy. Recognizing that sharp sports betting is sharp sports betting, and there's a lot of different ways to go find edges. One of those key ways is to go and bet in person. Crazy, right? The circle of life. We went from being only sports books at casinos to all this online stuff. Now we're going back to the casinos and betting there. So if you want to go to a casino that is limiting you online, but you can go and bet anonymously and get more action in person, then you might still want a tool to help you do that. You don't want to go from all of a sudden using A-Train Station on all of the things that you're doing online to saying, hey, I'm just going to go bet like a square again and just go use my sports gossip knowledge. No, you don't want to do that. You want to use A-Train Station, baby. So this is how you use A-Train Station to go bet in person. So let's do it. We're going to we just logged into A-Train Station. Let's go to our settings. We're not going to change anything from our normal settings here. I use my $22,000 bankroll currently with a very conservative multiplier of 15%. Our book weighting system that we use is Bet Online 1, Pinnacle 1. Those are the 2 sharpest books of the many books that we have on tap. Then you go to your books and you say, you know what? I'm going to go to Rivers Casino today. And hit save. And that's going to bring up my plays screen with a bunch of plays. I'm going to do hide already bet. I'm going to do my minimum EV percent, in this case at 1.5%, because I want to be able to look at some things that I may not even play, but I'm going to start at 1.5%. And I'm going to do my hold percentage here of 6.5 and add that percent so it knows I'm talking about a hold percentage. Right? So I hit apply. And now what I'm going to see is a list. And in this case, I have 24 results in 11 events. And I can see these and I can say, all right, you know what? Let's get in the car, baby. Let's go. And so we're going to go to Bet Rivers. You have 2 options. A lot of casinos frown upon the use of mobile devices at their casinos when you're gambling. So if you want to fly under the radar, the best thing you can do is print this out. So if you print this out, granted, you're not going to have, like if I went in here and I see all of the details, I could have a much greater fidelity of this. But I also know that Bet Rivers is not very sharp, and so I can kind of go and play these with some level of confidence just straight up based on the information I have on the screen. I trust my book weighting methodology. I know that Bet Rivers is historically not super sharp at what they are doing a lot of the time, so I can get an advantage there. I'm going to try to bet as much as I can. Now, I see my EV percentage. I have the bet recommendation here. I know we're going to Rivers. It's a total play under 223. The line I'm looking for is minus 108, but here's my no vig odds. So my no vig odds are minus 118. So I know if it ends up being at minus 110, I can go play it. If it's at minus 112, I can go play. If it gets up to like minus 115, probably walking away, right? But I know that in this case that it is a good play up to minus 118. So if I'm in there and I print this sheet out and I walk in with paper, everybody has paper. Everybody has notes when they're going to bed at sports, at least a lot of the time. And so they go in, you walk in with your sheet of paper, they're not going to look twice. And you're just gonna say, okay, I'm gonna go through this list. And so that's exactly what I do. I just go through and I try to make the plays. I try to put it in close to the amount of the bet size that I want. I just go through and I go through one by one by one. I'm marking them off on my list. And then when I'm done, soon we're gonna have the ability for you to come back to A Train Station later and enter in all of those bets you placed offline. We don't have that function today, but that will be coming soon. But regardless, you can at least have the notes and then go back and check it out. But you'll, instead of having it all entered online, you just print out a bunch of tickets, keep those with you, and you go back, a week later or a day later or an hour later. Maybe not an hour later. You go back a week later and you can go and do it all again. So I often try to go in, Friday or Saturday and say, hey, I'm going to get in for the weekend, all the plays I can make. And that's fine. It's worth the time, right? So you can get so much more action that this is kind of how you do it. So you print it out, you go through the list, and that's that. And so all of a sudden, what has been a book that I just couldn't play at for months and months, all of a sudden becomes one of my most profitable books again, because I could go to the physical location and make some good plays. Is there a chance that the line's going to move from the time I print it out and the time I go there? Yeah, there's a chance. Now you can, if you want to, you could go and you could bring your mobile device. I mean, A Train Station works on mobile. You can bring it up and you can work with these same plays, and you can say, okay, I'm going to go to and look at this one, and you can bring it up. You can look at the details. You can make some notes on your phone or whatever, make it on paper, and then you go and play. A lot of people are going to prefer to do that. So there's a lot of ways that you can go and make these plays in person. But the key is that the research is the research, right? We are here to do data analytics for you. And we could do it in any of the books that you want to. If you're flying to a state that only has an in-person, Caesar's Sportsbook, for example, you could go and do the analysis, print out a list, say, I'm going to go try to make some of these plays. Those are the kinds of power that you have with A Train Stations. Being creative, not just in your bet strategy, not just in your book weightings, not just in the accounts you're getting online, but being creative and where you find outs and where you find opportunities to play. That's huge across the board. And so this is a way to think differently, to say, what can I do to overcome some of these challenges that I have with book limits? You go to the book in person and you make the plays at whatever size you want. And that is really powerful. And the book doesn't mind, because they realize, like, okay, yeah, some sharp sports bettors are going to come in here, but you know what they can't do is get 100 phones and create 100 crazy accounts and call all their friends and, take advantage of us in every direction. It's that kind of behavior that they're most on the lookout for. I don't think they're going to worry too much about an individual bettor coming in once a week and betting $50 on these games and then, moving on. Maybe they will. There's always that potential. They could always ask you to not come back and do that, but you're not doing anything wrong. And so that's the thing. It's like, it's part of the game. They take one step, you take another step, and we're in this dance with the sports books, trying to find opportunities to make strong plays and win some money. So with that, that's really the key, right? That's, this tool works in a number of ways. And I just wanted to introduce that thinking. Hey, you can do other things that just go at it head on. If you can find ways to get around some of the blockers, you can all of a sudden create new avenues of potential profit. And that's what we do. And that's what I do personally. I enjoy doing it. It's fun to go to sports books. It's fun to go in. You can go in, have a beer, watch the games, place your positive EV bets. There's no rule. There's no rule just because we make money doing this that it can't also be fun. You can have fun. You should have fun. This is a hobby. And this is something that can lead to fairly substantial income on top of your day job, but it should also still be fun. You should still also enjoy the experience of it, because otherwise there's a lot of ways you can make money in this world. And this one I think is particularly fun, but it comes with risk. It comes with variance. You have bad days. All of that is part of this. But in the end, going to a sports book in person, making those plays is just one more way you can get an edge, and you can make some long-term profits with A Train Station. One thing to consider. So with that, everybody, thank you for joining us today. Hope this was informative. If you have any questions, let me know. And this train is leaving the station. Until next time, save the units for the bros and do your betting like the pros. Take care.